Hi, my name is Jana Kay, and welcome to my Bible study channel, Flourish Evermore. Today I am interviewing a good friend, Vuyiswa Dyer, or Vuyi. What do you prefer?
Vuyi.
Vuyi, that's what all our friends call her. She is an amazing cake baker and decorator, and so I'm interviewing her all about that, and an amazing Christian woman as well, and just her experience of being a Christ follower and how that impacts her life. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
We'll get started. All right, first question is, how did you come to know Jesus and cross the line of faith, become a follower?
Sure. I always say, like, for me, that's always like a funny story because, when people will remember their date and say, I was saved on this day, I've had so many altar calls where I would go up front. I'd go up front because for me, I lacked that understanding of what it meant to be saved. So I think I lacked that foundation of what it meant to be saved. So I looked at being saved as, I need to do the right things. I need to follow the word to the core. So one small mistake, I felt like, I'm back to square one. Now I need to be saved again. It was a whole process. But I officially started knowing about God when I was in primary school. Like, my sister would come home and tell me about this God that loves me. And I'm like, there's a God that loves me? So she learned about God from her teacher, who was a Jehovah's Witness, actually.
Oh, wow.
And so she would come home and tell me about this God that loves me. And I was kind of intrigued and fascinated by it. Like, I was like, I want to know more about this God. And so, like, my curiosity grew into now me developing a personal relationship with him, where it wasn't based on other people. There was a lot of influence from teachers. I think my teachers played a huge role in from primary till high school, where during break time they'd like host these worship sessions, devotions, and we got to like know about God then and Jesus, and it was like, like that fire and drive grew from that stage.
Wow.
But I think just that foundation of what it actually means to be saved, I didn't understand it until like late high school and going into varsity. Actually, so I'd say I was saved, but I just don't know. I wouldn't say there's a particular date.
I think that's common for a lot of people. I mean, you fall in love with Jesus, you understand, but there is that growing in more knowledge of him and what it means to be a follower. That's really good. That's encouraging, since I was a teacher. That teachers can have that influence. I know they're limited now how much they can share in the classroom,
and that's quite sad.
But but it is good that a teacher was an influence,
big influence.
That's great. That's great. So I know you have been through some very difficult times in your life, which you don't have to go into detail about. But what I would like to know is just how your relationship with the Lord helped you through that time, how his care, his provision in your life, what that looked like as you walk those difficult paths, times in your life.
So I think it all started in 2014 when my mom passed away. I remember before that, my mom was sick for quite some time. And before that, I was negotiating with God to like, God, don't take her. Because if you take her, I'm going with her. So I was like bargaining a deal that she stays, I stay. That was my agreement with God. Well, according to me,
I've done some of those agreements before.
I don't think you signed that contract, but that was like my agreement to say, God, if she goes, I go. And then it happened, and it felt like everything was just going downhill from then. But even during that time, I never looked away from God. I didn't know anything else but God. So I was angry with God, but I was angry at his feet. I remember him, I just felt that sense of him reminding me that, it's okay to be angry. Be angry, it's fine, but be angry here. right at my feet, and it felt like, you know, that teddy bear comfort of like a father just loving on you. And so for me, even through that journey, like I never stopped believing that he's God. I never stopped thinking that, oh, this God does not exist because of the situation or what had just happened. He was always God. You know, like for me, he was always, like his character didn't change. I was mad. Like, I won't lie. I'm going to be honest and say I was like really mad at God at that time. But it didn't change who he was in my life. And in fact, I think that's when, because that was like my first year in varsity, Pretoria. And that's when I really started getting closer to him. It's funny, like right after my mom, he was the only one I could turn to. So I think that's definitely what got me through that season, because I recognized that I know I can't find comfort elsewhere. Yeah. Like there's nowhere else I can go but to you, as angry as I am.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Were you part of a church?
Yes. There was a church in Pretoria.
Okay.
That's where I got baptized actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think just that that transition of that's where I feel like I also started understanding what being saved means.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great. What did, talking about being in university in Pretoria, what did you get your degree in?
It's funny because in Pretoria, because I went to the University of Pretoria, I was studying veterinary science.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I almost did that. I love that.
Really?
Yeah, I love animals, so.
I know.
Yeah.
But apparently loving animals doesn't mean you should become a vet, because that didn't work out.
Yeah.
But then I moved to the University of Vets.
Okay.
Wow.
If it's Waterschron. Yeah, something like that.
Vets University.
Yes, there you go.
And there I studied accounting.
Okay.
And that's where I got my degree. That was 2019.
Okay.
So end of 2019.
And you
2020.
fell in love with accounting.
I don't think so. I think it was just my safe bet.
Yeah.
Like, it's what I knew, especially after, because that's the thing. After my mom passed away, everything just been.
Yeah.
So even my studies at UP, because it happened in my first year. So even my studies at UP were just like fluctuating. And so accounting felt like a safe bet because I was really good at it in high school.
Okay.
So
Wow.
it was like I didn't want to not do anything. So
Right.
it was my go-to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did enjoy it.
So we were talking earlier about left and right brain. So you got a little bit of a left brain in there. Yeah. A little bit of a left brain to do accounting.
Yeah.
But you have become a baker. So how did you fall in love and decide that you wanted to bake cakes?
Sure.
Amazing cakes.
It didn't happen overnight. It was my mother.
Okay.
I learned from my mom. We used to bake together growing up. When I was growing up, like every time she'd come back from work, we'd bake, and sometimes I'd find myself baking by myself just to surprise her when she gets home, to be like, hey, I did it myself. So after she passed, I stopped completely. Like for me, it was a traumatic experience. Like it was, I don't want to do this without you. So I stopped and I was like, I'm not touching this anymore. And remember you used to host us for...
Yes. Yes.
You used to host us for like baking sessions.
Yeah, we did chocolate
chips and
brownies. Yep.
And that was bringing it out again. I always say that it's amazing how God will bring people into your life to just cover that space, and not to replace her, but to just kind of bring it back, like restore. And so that for me, that journey, thank you for that.
It's a pleasure.
It was a start to like falling in love with baking again and saying, shucks, I've always wanted to do this. It's not from high school I was like, I love baking. This is something I really would love to go into. And so when we started baking, when you started hosting those classes, like when you'd announce them, I'd be like, I'm there. Because it was exciting. Like it was like an excitement was being awakened in me. And so that happened. And then 2020, after I got my degree, actually it felt like, oh, now I have this degree, what now?
Right.
And not to say that there's anything wrong with it, but it just felt like I got the degree. It felt like that I've ticked the box and that's fine. So I have the degree. What do I want to do now?
Yeah.
And I was like, we need to take the bold step and start the business. And that's how it officially started as a business, like 2020. This was before COVID, like this was before it hit and everything was like shut down. But I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna waste time. I'm gonna register the business. I'm gonna research what's needed and I just did it.
Yeah.
And no ingredients, nothing. It was like I'm taking a leap of faith and saying this has always been the dream. This has always been something that I've always wanted to do. So let's do it. Yeah. So
and I guess a little bit of that accounting kind of
comes
helped
in,
and was
a
helpful.
lot.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So that's
good.
how Vuyibakes started.
Cool. That's exciting. So, it helped get started. Does having that accounting side also help? How does that kind of work in then with your business?
Sure. I think at first I struggled seeing how to kind of bring it into the business because it felt like accounting was teaching us more how to just account for people's businesses.
Okay.
So you are looking at it from an outside perspective where I'm looking at your books as I don't know whatever business you're running. I'm looking at your books. I'm not actually running the books.
Right.
I'm not the one who's having to account for everything. But remember when I came to you and I asked you about how to do pricing and whatever?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That was so helpful because that kind of opened up. It made me realize that shucks, these are things that you've learned, even though you think you don't know the knowledge, because you're so focused on, oh no, but the only thing I was looking at it is debit and credit.
Yes.
But actually, there's a lot that I learned in my degree that's now playing a role in how I account for everything. So how I allocate the equipment that I use, the things that I stock, so whatever I need for the baking, how do I account for that? That all comes from accounting.
Yeah.
I know this because that's the knowledge I've gained over time. So it has been really helpful. Like I can like say I've put it away, but the truth of the matter, the matter is it's played a huge role in the business. Yeah,
That's great. So it wasn't all for nothing.
It really wasn't.
It did help.
It really wasn't.
That's good. Do you ever have opportunity to speak into your faith, share your testimony, talk about Jesus through your business?
Not directly. And I think it's so funny because recently I've been asking God how best I can glorify you in the business, where it's not just, oh God, you're bringing in people, but I'm just enjoying the influx of people coming in, but I'm not actually bringing you glory in any way. And I felt like he was reminding me that even because I really love our small kids. Like I love small children. I love the kids.
Yes.
And so
Vuyi helped me in kids ministry at church. That was a great thing. She was so good. Yeah, she does love kids. Yeah. Yep.
So I think in my community, for me, that was a reminder that even in small things where we reflect God's love. So I love kind of like inviting them to join me in like baking, or like when there's like extra baked goods, just because they get excited about these things. They're like, oh, like sugar. I mean, it's bad for them. Parents, don't kill me. But not too much. It's moderated. But just being that light in their life where there's like a bit of chaos. I think that's been quite helpful.
You never know when one of them
for sure
might in years to come start their own baking business because
of these small things.
You've done that and invited them in.
So I think those are some of the ways where I feel like I've just tried to show them God's love just by reflecting it through what I do. I would love to do more. I think sometimes I shy away around my personality and say, oh, but I'm too scared to talk to people and all of that. But it is something I've been praying about. Like, God, how do I best serve you? Like, how do I use these hands to not just create and like take pictures and whatever, but how does this bring you glory? So that's been like, it's been an ongoing where it's like because sometimes you don't see the little things that you do that have
Right.
an impact. So
You're right. Yeah, exactly.
we want to do more, but I also
Exactly.
want to be trusted with the small. So just
Yeah.
appreciating the small steps, but also saying I'm not going to be complacent and stay in this one place, and I do want to grow and not hide behind my personality.
But I do think that when we use our creativity, we're using a gift from God, and that glorifies Him. Because I talked in another video with my dog about how nature just flowers just blooming, dogs barking, birds singing and building nests, that they're actually glorifying God in what that He's given them to do.
Yeah.
And I think we do that. Even the generosity that you've spoken about, you know, and speaks volumes of who He is.
Sure, so
that's,
true.
That's
So true.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to post some photos of your cakes. They are just like Vuyi, beautiful on the outside, but also beautiful on the inside, because we did get a cake for my son's birthday. Yeah, and it tasted amazing. So not only was it beautiful, you do find you get some that are just so pretty on the outside, and then you eat them and you're like, okay, but hers are actually delicious on the inside. And so I'll put up some of those. And can you tell people how they can get in touch with you? If obviously our Josie friends would have the easiest time getting a cake from you, but how can they find out, see more? And I'll also post all the information in the description box below, but tell them how they can get in touch with you.
So Vuyibakes is based in Soweto, but I mean that's not a restriction. I'm on Instagram as Vuyibakes and Facebook, so through that you'll be able to find my contact details or talk to me via Instagram, and then you're able to place an order.
And like I said, I'll put that in the description box below. So I have a few more questions. Thankfully, you only have to give 1 or 2 words.
Okay.
There are some rules. You have to pick one. There's no in between. There's no neither or both or any of that. Okay.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. So, first one. List maker, or what I would say, fly by the seat of my pants kind of person.
Just one. I have to choose.
You have to
There's no
choose. There's no in between. You have to choose. Maybe what describes you more?
I'd say list maker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Because that helps me be organized. Otherwise, it's chaos.
When you have a business, you have to tend to be a little more organized than me, because I'm not a list maker. Okay. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Which always cracks me up, because she bakes cakes, but she'd rather eat savory food.
Really? Like that's my go-to. I don't even have to think about it.
Ocean or mountains?
Oh, this is the hardest one. Oh, no, this one is this one is difficult. But I would say ocean.
Ocean. Well, the nice thing is, if you go to Durban, you get ocean and mountains kind
so
of
you
at
get
the same
best
time.
of both.
Not many places are like that, but Durban is. All right, I have to ask this. Coffee or tea?
Tea. I don't drink coffee.
Ah!
I know this is gonna kill a lot of people.
It's okay.
But
There's always
I'm a tea
those.
person.
Actually, I'm drinking tea right now, so I like it. But there you go. So I'll cut you some slack.
Thank you.
Sunrise or sunset?
Oh, sunsets. Well, I've got to experience sunsets, and I find them really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. City or rural?
Oh, rural. If I could get out of here. If the opportunity comes, I'm out.
There you go.
I'm out.
There you go. So you living in Joburg, you have to go to the country every once in a while. There you go. Okay, would you rather play a sport or watch a sport?
Play.
Play. Do you have a favorite?
Netball. I used to love playing netball.
Okay.
Yeah. And soccer.
And soccer.
Was this meant to be a one?
No, you
One
can.
more.
That was an extra added in there. So yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Cat or dog?
This one is obvious. I'm a dog person. I love dogs, yeah.
Too.
Nothing
Although
against
I'm an
cats,
all
yeah.
animal person,
Yeah.
the reason I didn't become a vet is because of having to put animals down.
Oh,
And I
that
knew
is
I
awful.
couldn't handle it
Yeah.
because I am so sensitive to all animals. But yeah. All right. Would you rather read a paper book or listen to an audio book?
Paper book. I love it old school. Even my Bible, I struggle with.
Okay. Do you like the way they smell?
No.
Have you noticed? I love the way they smell. Kurt's always making fun of me because I'm smelling the book and seeing, okay, do I get it? No, I'm kidding. Not really about whether I buy it or not, based on the smell, but I do love the smell of ink on paper. It's just, yeah. All right. Would you rather take a cooking class or an art class?
Cooking class.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of cooking, but cooking class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I love food.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good reason. That's a good reason. Yeah, I think when it comes to two, most people are one or the other, cooking or baking, kind of, you know.
Definitely on
And
the other
so,
side,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think most people, if they really like baking, are not cooking is not that interesting, and vice versa. But yeah. All right, one more. You're doing so well.
Okay.
Are you a jack of all trades or are you a specialist?
I'd say a specialist.
At
Thank you.
baking. I knew that was coming. There you go.
Everything else, I'm sorry.
There you go. So you might want to take an art class, and then you could be.
That's true.
Well,
Actually,
maybe not.
You know what? But,
But-
yeah, but that's a valid point.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's good. I think there's a combination. I consider myself a jack of all trades, which could be helpful if there's nobody that could do something. I'm willing to jump in, but I also wish I specialized and really focused on one thing, because then you can get really good at it. So, and like I said, she's really good at baking cakes. So thank you. I
you so
really
much.
appreciate you letting me interview you, even though you're an introvert. There's nobody else around, although later on
Yeah, I try not to
hundreds of
think
people
about
may
that.
see it, but you know.
Yeah.
But you won't know that. They're not here right now. So, but I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm just amazed by you as a godly woman and a creator. And so hopefully that you'll have some people maybe who watch this contact you and get one of your amazing, beautiful, delicious cakes. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again for our next Bible study together. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.